Bless up, Mario. What's going on? Welcome, everyone. I took a leave of absence. Um, Not really, just had some other things I had to take care of. Um, Thanks, Dr. Young. Trying to step up our game. We're gonna be, try to improve things in the short term as we go along. Try to make this more professional, and so you guys have a better experience. Um, so Marco Peter, what's going on? Big up. You're asking Trudy is in the background. She's in production seat tonight. I know. You guys rather have Trudy. Howard, what's going on? Mr. Henry, big up. Ricardo, respect. Welcome everybody. Um, and as I said before, usually say this, share the link. You know, get people to join us. Let's have a good discussion on production tonight. Basically, I'm going to talk about um, give an update on our production, where we are. We're 3 months in, almost 2.5 months in, and just going to give you guys an update on where we are with our production that we laid out. Remember at the beginning of the year, what we're trying to achieve. So just gonna go over a few things, share some ideas. Yeah, Mario, I heard Judy did an amazing job last week. She's a star girl, so we gotta give thanks. She did an amazing job. The reviews are through the roof, so I got big shoes to fill. Don't know if I can live up to the standard that Judy sets, but I'll try. Um, so yeah, let's share the link, get some people on, and I will get into our discussion tonight. Jay Ellis, big up. Um, if there's anybody you guys think will benefit from this discussion, and please share, let them know we're here. And we're all about sharing information and helping. Arthur and respect. Um, okay, so this past week we started with some female, two groups of females. With we had a Nubian group, females that are with the Nubian buck, and we had a group with Samson the Boer buck. So this past week we did run pregnancy tests on the group, and we were successful for the most part with our conception rate. So we currently have, from that group, we had 17 pregnancy confirmation, and we still have to check the rest next month to see if any late pregnancy happen. We have a few that we need to recheck. So at the moment, we have 32 pregnant females on the farm. 16 of those should be kidding April, May, and then the rest will be July, August, June, July into August. Yeah. So we're on track, except that I would like to really increase the conception, really be averaging like 20 in each period, at least 20. So I had to work out how we can make that happen, or we just, I know it's hard to group them if we don't do, it's hard to condense the breeding cycle unless we do cedar. So summertime, when we get into the summertime, we're definitely gonna do cedar, so we can crunch the conception and the breeding cycle into a shorter period. So the kidding period is not stretched out over a month and a half, trying to get it all done in a month, and then that way we can have another period there and it just cycles. So that's where we are. Um, that's the report on the two breeding groups. We just weaned the kids from some kids from November, December. Average weaning weight of 48, 47. Now, we used to average 52 pounds weaning weight. So the last two sets of weaning, we've been down 48, 47. So I had to go look at the data, look at all the records, and see what's going on. Why are we down 4 percentage points? And it all started from our milking program. Once we started our milking program, which this is what we're doing, at 2 months, mothers with kids is introduced to the milking program. Kids are separated from those mothers overnight. We milk the mothers in the morning and they reunite after the milking. Now, when I look at all the data, look at all the records, I realize all those kids from we started the milking program, all those kids are averaging, the weaning weight's been dropped from 52 pounds to 48 and 47. 48 and 47, somewhere there. And all I can think of, everything stays the same. All I can think about is the fact that we're milking the mothers. So they're getting less milk and the daily gains is not what it used to be. So we have to go to the drawing board and try some things to see how we can get the weights back up, or do we accept that weight and just take it as the price we pay for getting milk from the mothers? If anybody in here has any ideas or thoughts on it, please drop it in the comments, because Howard's asking, does that have any impact on our sale price? It doesn't, because we don't sell the kids until they're 4 months. They're weaned at 3 months, completely weaned at 3 months. We sell them at 4 months once we know they are completely weaned, healthy, no stress from the weaning process. So we haven't had any problems or seen any drastic change at the 4 month mark. However, my concern is really, how do I, or should I be overly concerned with this, or should I just take it as the price we pay for taking the mothers away overnight? There's a stress the kids go through for that. There's the less available milk for the kids. So there's a bunch of factors that goes into how it would affect them, right? Yeah. See, Matthew um, Chester says, "Yeah, I'm taking milk from them, so I gotta basically gotta suck up what I get, right?" Yeah, it's a give and take situation. Yeah, that's exactly what we're thinking. Um, so you guys tell me, do you think it's a good trade-off? You know, I must say, the plus of having the milk and revenue from the milk and developing a real milk program, it's exciting. It's a big deal for us. Um, Maybe we were naive, or I was naive, thinking that there wouldn't be any impact on the kids. There definitely is an impact, and the only thing of change in the system is them staying away from their mom overnight. Um, Mario saying, so what I get from that is that they are getting less milk and the stress of missing their mom. Maybe a milk replacer can use for that period. Here's the problem. I don't want to get into milk replacer for those kids. One, if I waited 2 months to introduce the milk replacer, I don't know if they're gonna take it, if they're gonna be getting on the bottle, right? Then if I introduce it to them at birth, then I'll be committed to be feeding 20, 30 kids, 25, 30 kids, or whatever it is each period. I'll be committed to making milk replacer and bottle feeding all these kids. Our system's not set up for that. Our system's definitely not set up for that. So we have to compromise. And I think, based on what the feedback is here and the discussion we've had on the farm, is maybe that's a trade-off. We have to accept it, you know. And as Peter says, yeah, it's extra costs. That is it gonna is is it worth it? You know, yeah. Here's Dr. Young saying, yeah, I have to look at cost benefit ratio. Exactly. I don't see the cost of small lasting weight versus cost of milk gain. Yeah, I think the small weight loss is not as significant compared to milk program, and what the revenue from the milk program can do for the operation, right? Um, Once the kids are weaned, uh, we don't see there's no we don't see any effect from it, except that we know, because we keep records, that we're losing, 3 4 4 pounds on an average. So I don't think it's I don't think it's detrimental. I'm sharing it because us as a group, if there's people in here that's going into this, I want to let you guys know that this is a possibility. This is a trade-off for the milk program. you start the milk program, remember the kids are going to be having less milk accessible to them, you know. Um, you guys see we post our wieners. We haven't posted the wieners we did this past week yet, but we'll post them, and you don't see it. They don't look runted or lack energy or anything. So, and they seem to, once they're over that weaning process and the last 3 4 months, last 3 4 weeks, they rebound and they're doing pretty well, look amazing, you know. So we're just gonna keep going and keep an eye on it and make sure that it doesn't slide further. um, so far I think that's where we're at based on the genetics that we have. As you guys know, most of our animals are graded, so well, 98% of them are graded, except for we have 4 Nubians, purebred Nubians, and the bucks are, purebred and full blood. Full blood. Everything else is graded. So we just work with the genetics that we have. But must say, we've been very, very good at initially averaging 50 52 pounds weaning weight. So, you know, 47 48, guess we'll take it. We're getting milk out of it, right? The revenue from milk out of it. All right, so that's the weaning. Miguel, big up, welcome. That's the weaning. So we're excited about this weaning, this group of weaners. We're in the process of, getting ready, getting the space ready. As you guys know, in the goat house now is just straight production. There's no maintenance happening up there. Everything is, if you're not producing milk, then you either have kid on you or you're a buck getting ready to work. Everything in the goat house is production mode. So now we're getting ready to move the mothers that are going to be kidding in April, May. We're going to be moving them up to the house to make sure that we get them properly conditioned for kidding. Now, that process, what we do is, and I'll keep repeating this so people who are new for us and doesn't know what we do, they understand. 1 month before we're expecting kids, we move these expected mothers into the house. We pull them from pasture. They don't go to pasture anymore. They stay in the goat house. They get fed small amount of grain and shaft grass. Make sure we check them for any health issues, worms, anything. We double check everything, and make sure they're well conditioned, good body condition score, to make sure that they can have healthy kids. That's from our research and our understanding in talking to the vets and everything. The last month of the pregnancy is the most important. That's when most of the growth of the fetus takes place. That's when the most stress is on the mother. So we have to supplement them, especially the mothers that have, multiples, whether it's twins or triplets. We have to make sure they're getting enough feed. Make sure, water, fresh water all the time. All of those get fresh water, but you start paying closer attention. It's like humans pay close attention. What we've learned is the last month of pregnancy is when the mother is most susceptible to worms, because their body, the immune system is weaker, so worms can multiply because all the energy and all the nutrients and everything is going to the kids. So we pay close attention to all that um, the last month before they start kidding, before the kids come, because we want healthy mothers when the kids come. We've had experience where, you see the mother is going downhill and we know she's due in 2 weeks. We don't want to introduce any medication. We don't want to do any deworming. We just want to let the mother get through it, and then we go full on trying to treat the uh, the worm situation or whatever it is. And we find that it takes so much to get the mother back into condition. It's like, one, she may not produce enough milk because she's not energized or healthy. And then you have to take those kids off. So it's very important for us to make sure the mothers stay healthy all the way through the kidding. So less work for us, less hassle for us. We don't have to worry about bottle babies and stuff. And we have healthy goats. So next week, that's when we're moving, I think, 16 mothers up to um, into the goat house so that we can start getting them ready for kidding in April. And I'm excited because the schedule is working. You know, the schedule is working. We're going to be having kidding April into May. And then we're going to have another set of kids coming in the latter part of June into July. So the schedule is working. Now, the next step is another grouping for breeding, which I'm going to give the bucks a month break and then, put them back in. I'm going to make sure that they're healthy, you know, feed them some good feed, like top feed. We always give them good feed, anyways. When some vitamins, trying to make sure their appetite is up, they're reconditioned, and then they go right back at it. I don't think Samson's gonna go back. We're gonna put Appleton in. So Vivian is asking how much space with the facility, right? So that section right now that has kids in there, the nursery, that with those individual pens, those are gonna be out. Those individual pens are gonna be out, and that whole space is gonna be opened up. And that's where these mothers are gonna go. And that space easily holds 20, 25 goats, adult goats. So these 6 mothers are going to be in that space. There's enough trough space. There's another space there for them, and that's what we've always done. And what we do is, as they have kids, we'll move the mother and the kid to an individual pen, which is a five by five pen, and as they have kids, we put them in an individual pen. Um, and as you guys see, we have these panels that we use to build the pens. And as they kid, we put them in an isolation, individual pen. And we have 2 nurseries, so we have enough space for these mothers. And that's how we do it. Yeah, we're gonna steam up the box and steam up, get them all steamed up and ready to go. And the females too. Yeah. What is top feed? Peter, top. You have to get with the thing, man. Top feed, like, you know what I mean? The best of the best, you know? Top feed, like, you know what I mean? Like, the youths, them know what I'm talking about. You old people don't understand. Us youths. Um, there's no secret ingredient. There is no, I'll tell you guys what we do. There's no secret ingredient. Um, Fresh, good shaft grass, like good grass. Like we have predominantly guinea grass, but we also include quick stick, Gracidia, or what's that other one? China, and those things. We put all that in there, mix it up. They love it, and they get always have grass, fresh grass all the time. And then know that they're freshly coming off service, then we're gonna put hemoplex and stuff in the water, to make sure that they're energized and appetite is up. Maybe some Silmanac drench or something to start, for 2 3 days, so kickstart their appetite, and then just let them do what they do and rebound. I mean, these bucks are healthy. They eat like it's going out of style, except for when they're working. So that's what we do. There's no secret ingredient that people don't have access to. And they get grain. They always get grain because they need the energy and you know, so that's it. There's no secret ingredient. The only secret ingredient we have at the farm is the ability to pay attention, and we sometimes we don't pay enough attention. Well, it's not Hemoplex anymore. It's called Nutri Mix. It's called Nutri Mix or something like that. Yeah, Nutrimins. There you go. Nutrimins. That's what it's called. But on the bottle, it says it's the same as Hemoplex. Um, Regarding the feeding, we try to feed the goats the same things, the same forage that's around the place. That's what we feed. The same stuff that's around the property, that's available every day around the property. We don't go look for stuff that's not growing in our area because we don't want to introduce them to it and they fall in love with it and then we can't get it at certain times. No, they need to eat everything that's there. Well, we have available to us, that's what they eat. We just make sure that we give it to them at the right time. Right. Grow when it's most most nutritional value is in it. That's when we try to cut it and give it to them. And because we're always cutting the stuff around us, then the 6 week or 8 week, 6 to 7 weeks cutting, that's what we do. Um, so yeah, so next week, mothers are going in, pregnant mothers to kid next month are going in. Um, we're gonna, start making sure that they're healthy, everything's good. There's a process of making sure we have everything we need for kidding. We've been through that before, what our kidding supplies are. You know what I mean? We always have iodine because of the milking program. Gloves are always there because of the milking program. But then there is certain things like know that we have some hay on the farm. We keep the hay that falls on the ground. We bag them up for bedding. So we store those for bedding. um, omega-3 for the kids right as they're born. Um, what else? Make sure our record is on point with who's pregnant, when they're due. What else do we make sure that the place is clean, the space is properly cleaned every day, because you don't know when kids are gonna get on the ground, and you don't want no extra bacteria, festering there for them. So proper cleaning every day, scrape the ground, whatever. I don't want it to be like it's a hospital or something, because I want the goats to have a certain level of hardiness, but I don't want a pile of droppings in the corner and all them things. No, just regular thing. Go to, like, yeah, just make sure the thing place is fairly clean. Darren, welcome. We're talking about our production, giving a Cabra Ranch production update on where we are and how we do it and how we can help other farmers streamline their production and what needs to be done and the targets and projections that's made, how we meet them. That's what we're talking about. How do you find silage as a sustainable way of feeding if you were to feed it consistently, feasible or just too much work? Good question, Anthony. I love that question. Here's the thing with silage. Silage is There's a lot of work that goes into making silage. If you go to silage as your preferred way of feeding the animals, then you have to consistently make silage, right? To have it available. Um, there's three ways I see people make silage. We've done it a few times. The bagging, which is not the most reliable, because if it's not tied properly, you lose that whole bag, right? And when you have people bagging and tying, just and pile it up, then they start taking shortcuts. They don't tie it properly. So then you start losing. We made, dozens of bags, and half of them were bad because they weren't tied properly. Then there's the drum, those blue drums, barrels. That's another option that you can secure it very well, um, airtight. And then there is the more industrial way of digging a silage pit. Digging a silage pit means a lot more volume that you have to do to fill that up and do it, and you cover it with plastic tarp. And I don't know if people who travel, like in the southern part of the US, in the countryside, you can see where they build these big long silage tubes out of those white plastics, and then they'll cover it. They'll stack rubber, what do you call it, tires on it, so it doesn't blow away. The wind doesn't take the plastic off. Or you have machines that just put it in a plastic tube, a big plastic tube that's massive, and they just keep filling it up and stuffing it, and then they close it. So with those farms that have thousands of acres of forage, or corn, or whatever it is to make silage, that's what they do. For example, if anybody's familiar with sheeplish me, the sheep farmer in Canada, they own a lot of land because they grow soybeans and corn and alfalfa and all these things, but they make silage in those massive plastic tubes, and that's what she uses to feed her 450 sheep with TMR. She used it as part of her TMR. So the silage can be beneficial. People just have to figure out how to do it right and remember that it's an ongoing thing. For us, we used it in when there's a lot of rain or when grass not growing too well in the middle of winter. We use it as a supplement to add to the grass so we can have more forage to feed. But ideally, I would love to make a silage pit. You know, I would love to make a silage pit because it would be, to me, would be a lot easier. Darren is saying, yeah, it's bad weather feed or whatever. But if you have the really and truly in Jamaica, that's what it's mostly used. But if you have the land space, if you have the land space to grow the forage, the grass and whatever to make silage, then you can do it. You can make a silage pit and you know, you just every 2 months or every 3 months you cut and fill up a pit and keep it going. You just got to think ahead. You know what I mean? It's you just have to plan it out like everything else. Um, it's but just remember that it's input. It's additional input. You got to think: is it worth it to pay to get all this grass cut, all this stuff preparation, all this thing, and get it done? Is it worth the input, the extra input? And trust me, I wouldn't do a silage pit if I'm not doing TMR. I wouldn't suggest it on our farm because the whole idea of having TMR is to have the of doing TMR is to have the ingredients readily available at a cheaper or more cost effective, right? So if you're gonna scale up and do an intensive scale up an intensive operation and you have 4 or 5 acres, that's the way to go. You just make sure you plant good grass and keep reaping it and make silage. Yep. That's the way to go. That's feed security right there. You know what I mean? That is feed security right there. But you gotta dig 2 or 3 silage pit and invest in the proper cover, those big plastic tarps, thick ones that you can cover it and secure it. Okay, what is TMR? TMR is total mixed ration. So TMR it has dry matter in it. You can add the protein or nitrogen, all the different. I'm not a nutritionist, so I can't tell you exactly what goes in it, but it's a mix. It's a mix of dry matter and grain and all these things you mix. A nutritionist will tell you the proper mix. The TMR machines, if you want a TMR machine, they'll come in different size. Then your nutritionist will come and tell you these are the ingredients we're using to create your TMR, your total mixed ration, and how much of each ingredient goes in it. And the machine will mix it and create this mix that once they eat that, they're good. They're getting everything they need from that mixture. And you can feed them one time for the day with that, and they're good to go. That is the ideal, especially people doing meat production, even milk, doesn't matter, meat, milk. If you can get into TMR, you need a machine To efficiently do it, you need a machine. And then you're talking about efficiency and productivity because you can actually maximize what the daily gains on your animals based on the fact that you have data on what you're feeding them, how much of what you're feeding them. A good nutritionist will come and tell you, let's say our milk program, we're like, yo, we have good milk dairy goats. We can, create a TMR that will give us more milk yield, maximize the milk yield. Trust me, I've been fighting and arguing with Khalil about developing TMR. I strongly believe that's the way forward for what we're doing. Um, I think Khalil Brown, somebody's asking, can you buy TMR? Khalil Brown was developing a TMR that possibly could could be bagged and then sell to people. I don't know where he is with it, but we talked about it 2 years ago because we were so high on TMR until we realized, well, at this point we're not there to actually invest in a TMR machine and all that stuff. We weren't there yet. But yeah, he was developing a TMR that could actually be bagged, seal it like silage, whatever, and sell it. So I don't know. We'll follow up with him. I'll try to see where he's at with it, if he actually made any headway with it. But he's at Hyper. I don't know if I think Hypro had some TMR machines that they were selling to dairy, cattle dairy people and all that. So maybe he had a chance to do it. Leighton, can you buy TMR feed in Jamaica? I don't know anywhere that sells TMR feed. TMR, as I said, it's a mixture. It's mixing your feed. Like you see all those guys that mix things and sell it to people. So they must mix feed and selling it. That's a form of TMR, but they're not nutritionists. So they're just throwing some stuff them think will work. You need a nutritionist that's going to say you need X amount of dry matter, you need X amount of nitrogen, you need X amount of energy, like grain to something. You need somebody who knows this stuff, like Dr. Denny or Khalil Brown, or I mean, Dr. Young may know some stuff about that too. So that's what you need. I'm not buying these stuff these guys are bagging and put it into feed bags. Um, well, see, Darren says he's starting his own TMR thing. For me, I'm not going to attempt it without the guidance of a nutritionist because I can't afford to mess with what we got going on the farm. I really can't afford it. So without the guidance of a nutritionist, I'm not gonna even try to do it myself. Yeah, definitely a cluster can look into getting a TMR machine and consult with a nutritionist on what are the inputs you need to have to create a good TMR. So Leighton is saying, why invent it? Can we get the mixed formula from US or Australia? Okay, so Leighton, the TMR is based on the ingredients that you have available to you, or you have to buy it. So that's why I keep saying consult with a nutritionist on what's available, what the items, the inputs that are available to you. How do you utilize corn? If it's how much of already concentrate from Nutrimix or Hypro that you need to put in, the grass grass or dry you have available to you, whether it's silage or hay, what is the nutritional value of it, and how do you utilize it? You know what I mean? So it's technical. Trust me, it's technical, and that's why I keep saying consult with a nutritionist. You know, consult with your nutritionist because it's technical. You can definitely do damage to your animals if you don't know what you're doing. Um, I would, if anybody's considering, and if you have 10 goats or 20 goats and you really feel strongly about TMR, you can manually mix it with, a hay fork or whatever. But I would definitely tell you to consult with your nutritionist because feed what you feed your animals is not something to be played with. I don't suggest it. But if you feel strongly about TMR and would love to see what it can do, and you have a small number of animals that you can utilize it on, then consult with a nutritionist. Consult with a nutritionist and see what items you need and how much of what you need. They will help you. I know Khalil will. He's all about that. Do we still import goat meat and how much a year? Yes, we import goat meat and mutton, which is sheep meat. How much it is right now, I don't know. I don't pay attention anymore. I just know that we import more than we produce, a lot more than we produce. Um, it's more like 80% of what we consume, we import. So there you go. Goat meat, go to always sell in Jamaica. Let's figure out how you're going to do yours, how you're going to create your business, and you will always sell, you know. So, okay, where I'm at. Yes, so the females go in next week. We get ready, get them properly conditioned, get all the items we need in place, and then we prepare for killing. Um, I'm trying to read these. Leighton is saying, why can't those of us who favor TMR get together and hire one? How expensive is it? The one that we were looking at that would suit our production, I think it was 1.5 million Jamaican landed. Yeah, it's not cheap. So you have to know exactly how it's gonna help you, how it's gonna pay for itself. You know, if you're serious about, let me be straight here. The people that TMR would benefit are the likes of Damian Crawford. That's 350, 400 goats deep. And the importance of efficiency, the importance of knowing what you're feeding, because he's straight up a meat operation. So the importance of knowing what you're feeding, knowing what the daily gains are, because with the TMR, you can do 3 mixes for the day, one for maintenance, one for lactating, and one for fattening. So you can create different ration based on the stage of production for the animals, and that's where the efficiency comes in. You know, so if you have those numbers like Damien or some people, other people like that farmer who sell out 200 goats. Like if you up there in the numbers and you're trying to be more efficient and try to know exactly what's going on, what's your daily gain, because you have to meet market in a certain time period. You want to make sure whether it's 6 7 months or 65 70 pound or 80 pounds, whichever comes first. TMR is ideal because you can change the feed on the fly. You can change what you feed them today. You can change tomorrow. You can give them more energy, more crude protein, whatever tomorrow by just doing minor adjustments. You know. So yeah, as Mr. Henry says, the consistent supply of the input ingredients is the issue. That's why for us, it's like consult your nutritionist, use the stuff that's readily available, and create a TMR that you can consistently deliver to your animals. Well, I agree with you, Leighton. I don't know what the shelf life of a TMR would be. I don't know what that will be. You know what I mean? Because I've never done it, but from the research I've done, TMR is made that day, consumed that day. So I don't know what the shelf life would be. um, yeah. So if people feel strongly about TMR, I will definitely try to get Khalil to come on in the short term and get him to explain TMR. Yeah, the materials, the input ingredients is the biggest issue. Because if it's using stuff that you have to actually, purchase from big feed companies or grain companies or, what do they call it? Flour mill or whatever it is. And you don't have that stuff, if they don't have it readily available to you, then you're in problems. You know? Yeah. For us at Cabra Ranch, the TMR machine was one of those items for us that was luxury. But once you get to certain number, you have to start thinking of it as necessity. I think if Damian Crawford operation a TMR machine at this stage is necessity. Definitely a necessity, because the efficiency it creates and the consistency it creates for his daily gains and to meet and for those kids to meet market in a timely manner, you can easily TMR can get him there. But remember, TMR, the input ingredients is an extra cost. It's not just feeding grass. You know what I mean? It's big time. How can we secure a larger volume of grass? Some people are not going to like what I have to say, but I'm going to say it. In Jamaica, people just have to be realistic sometimes about what they're getting into. No, 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 no joke. You can't get into goat business if you don't have what it takes. You don't have the inputs readily available to you, the basic stuff to take care of these animals. You can't want 200 animals if you don't have the facility, the space, whatever, to deal with 200 goats. So if you have 4 acres and you want to get into goat business and you really want to do it at a certain level, then those 4 acres have to be committed to forage, growing forage, growing your feed. You can't at any point think you can just use that forage for whatever, whether it's crops and all that stuff. You have to commit it, commit those that 4 acres to growing guinea grass, king grass, whatever it is that you use to feed the animals. Commit it to it so you can cut and carry in in a phase where when you finish one paddock, the next paddocks grow back, and you know what I mean. And you're basically that is your crop that you're growing to feed your animals, because it doesn't make sense you get into something and then when you're in it you're saying, yo, I can't do this, I can't find this, I can't whatever. It doesn't make any sense. You know, if each farmer start their operation and they have 2 acres, 3 acres, 4 acres, how many animals can that sustain? How many animals can you actually comfortably service from the 4 acres? You can get creative, you know what I mean? But you're gonna getting creative means it's gonna get more intensive because then you gotta put in fertilizers, all those things you gotta put in to have that forage grow and have access to it. You know what I mean? And with the technology and knowledge that people have now, it's doable. But you have to be, you got to stay within the scope of what you, you, your resources can give you. You can, overextend yourself, overextend your resources. You're setting up yourself for failure. You know, the there is forage in Jamaica. There is grass. How do people use them? How do people make sure that they always have feed? You can't overextend yourself if you don't have access to feed. Okay, let's say you have 1 acre and you want to build a massive goat house and put 300 animals in there. Then you have to have a link with the man we sell here, or go lease some land or something so you can have access to forage, dry matter to feed the animals. You know, I'm not even starting about the teething thing. We talk about that too many times. You know, the fact that here's the thing that Mr. Henry is saying. The truth is why goat feed drops to the bottom of the line when there's ingredient shortage. Yes, because people can feed goat with grass. Pig and chicken, nobody's gonna feed them grass and them things. They have to get the grain to produce. You know, and you got to remember, to me, honestly, the people who succeed and do really well in this goat business is the people who think outside the box and the people who look at it from a real production standpoint. Efficiency, time management, don't overextend your resources. Those are the people who really do well. If you can only do 50 goats, if your space, your resources can only do 50 goats, then you know that, okay, meat thing is not my thing. Or if I'm doing meat, it's just a niche thing where I supply 20 people or a couple stores or something, right? What's the focus going to be? Focus should be milk, because 50 goats can give you a lot of milk for milk products. Goat meat production is numbers. It's a numbers game. Straight up numbers game. So if you have limited space and can't get the numbers up, what is the plan? You know, so I really don't want to get into all that right now, because it's an issue. It's definitely an issue. People want to go big, and they don't have the space or the resources to go big. You know, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Mr. Henry. If you have 4 acres, plant the grass like you're planting cash crop. Plant it like run it, your forage like it's a cash crop thing. You cut it in sequence, so you know by the time you get to the end, the first section must be ready to go again. It may take some machinery or some extra input, fertilizer, irrigation, whatever you need to do, because that's to feed security. And in the times when it's growing really fast, figure out how to store it. Silage, hay, whatever you need to do to store it. But it's about feed security. Yeah. I guess, Anthony, that's what I'm saying. People need to look at it. How many animals is manageable for what you have? If you want to scale up, then you got to look for more space, or look for access to more feed. Like, it's just basic business sense. It's basic business sense. If you want to scale up, you have to look for more space, or look for access to more feed. Like, I don't really want to entertain that whole conversation about the government must do this and open up land for this. I'm like, yo, create a successful goat industry, and then we open up everything for you. Serious. They will open it up for you. But we have to figure out how to create that business. How do we do it? If you have 200 animals, how do you get the most out of those 200 animals? That's how I see it. Be reasonable. Like, goat meat production is big, big numbers. Like, and us as the Cabra Ranch, we know that, because the amount of people that ask us if we can supply them with goat meat, we don't even entertain the conversation, because when you do the math, you realize, yo, I need 3,000 goats to make this happen. There's a party place that wants to do goat meat patty, but the pounds of goat meat they need on a weekly basis, I gotta be killing 25 goat to give them that per week, to give them that amount of goat meat on a weekly basis. How am I gonna do that? I have to have a serious production system going on. Serious. That's why I keep telling people, I keep telling the powers that be, that the objective is to have hundreds, if not thousands, of small farmers that are successful, just like chicken. They know how to get the animal from birth to 80 pounds in a short period of time, take the animal to a central spot, know that they take the animal there, whether they process it or sell it to the person, and get their money and keep it moving. If we don't have hundreds, if not thousands, if we don't have thousands of small goat farmers, when I say small, I'm like somebody who's doing have 50, 100 goats and know that they have a system going every other month or every month. Like, okay, let's say every other month or every 3 months, they're gonna take 50, 25 animals, 40 animals to this place. You know, that's the only way. Because Jamaica is not at the stage where we're gonna have 10, 25 goat farms with 3,000 animals. No, we don't. Most of us who really love goat business don't even have access to 10 acres. So the system that people will have 200 goat right now, are they feeding those 200 goats from their property? Are they taking it out to government property or somebody's abandoned property or whatever to feed them? It's not sustainable because any moment that land could be developed or fenced up. So my idea, and I still hold strong to it, that we need small to medium farmers, hundreds or thousands of them, that can go to a central processing place and get their money for their animals. I strongly believe that because we're not going to have 20, 25 large farms like we do for pigs and chicken. We're not going to have it. But we can have, hundreds or thousands of them with 50 goats, 100 goats. I think that's just my opinion. That's where I see it developing, how I see it developing. Just like how everywhere you go and buy chicken, if you buy it from the corner store or wherever you buy it, look down the road, whatever, the chicken is in that plastic bag the same way as best dressed chicken. The chicken is packaged and in that little plastic bag the same way. Only thing difference is the labeling. And all of the chicken them we about the same. That we need with goat business. We want everybody to know, say, yo, this is how you do it. Here's the system. Here's the production system that get you the result you're looking for. We're gonna get that. We're gonna end up with. Here's another sore thing. First, we're gonna get to where a lot more farmers are getting the result, the high level performance result, because of the hybrids, right? However, a lot of these bucklings that are being sold for breeding are the ideal meat animals. The ideal meat animals. Like they should be going in the curry pot. Those animals will give you so much profit if somebody process those animals and sell the processed meat. The that's where it should go. Instead, people sell them as studs or sell them to small farmers for things, but there's different levels to it. But a lot of bucklings that we produce on the farm, in an ideal situation, they're perfect. You know what I mean? I got animals getting to 85, 90 pounds in 5 months, 6 months. I'm like, yo, this is perfect. Meat is tender. Meat to bone ratio is amazing. Yo, that's it. That's it. These graded bucklings, these hybrid bucklings, are perfect for meat production. Perfect. But they're selling them like crazy money for breeding. I actually strongly believe that they don't really add too much value, but the whole argument is small farmers, people are starting out, you know. So I can't really knock it because maybe that's true. Maybe that's the way that's what's happening. But I'm telling people that if you look at these graded bucklings, most of them, it's exactly what you want in the pot. That's where the return is. The growth, the speed of where they grow, the speed of that they put on the weight. You know what I mean? 6 months, 5, 6 months, you're getting an animal that's 80, 90 pounds with the proper nutrition. It's perfect. Perfect. And I thought that's what it was the graded thing was intended for. Yeah, they are meat animals, as Mario says. They are the perfect curry animals. Mr. Henry, I'm talking about the graded animals. These graded animals definitely can go in the pot. Or if you guys remember the gentleman I had from Virginia that created his own goat meat breed, we can do that. You know what I mean? Bodles should try to do that. Create a perfect cross. And just use that as the meat production line. You know what I mean? The reggae line, the dancehall line, the whatever, the nine night, whatever name you want to call it. Or just the curry goat line. See, that's what I'm saying, Darren. That's the argument. A good graded buck is also an upgrade for small farmer with natives. That's the argument. Um, Santino is asking, can't graded bucks be used as studs or they shouldn't be used as studs? The stud that you're using on the farm, you have to know what your objective is to decide on what stud you use. It's that simple. If you're into milk, then you have to find a stud that's going to throw you milk traits, you know, properly attached udders, big udders. Like you got to look for what you got to get box that has the traits you're looking for to inject into your operation. Can be random. Darren, I assume that you're working on the perfect meat coat. The perfect meat coat is being worked on. Trust me. Yeah, I'm sure it's been worked on. It's being worked on for years, bro. My idea of working on the perfect meat coat, it has to be in a controlled breeding setting with data to back it up. That's what I call development. If you don't have data to back up what you're doing, records to show the changes, the improvements, the fallbacks, and you just guessing. Show me the data, show me the daily gains on what you're on what box you're adding to it to create what you're doing. So I would love for this to happen in Jamaica. A graded buck. Well, in Jamaica, graded means, to me, my understanding of graded is, you know, native, if it's not full blood or purebred, right? So Joe, our original buck, is 50% Nubian. His dad is Teardrop, the purebred Nubian. His mother is a full blood boar. He's a perfect hybrid. Everybody see what that know Joe know what Joe looks like. I don't regard Joe as a graded animal because of his pedigree, but to other people, he's a graded animal. But the offsprings of Joe is amazing, ridiculous. The offsprings. Ask Anthony. You know what I mean? So it all depends on the animal, on what stage they at, what the percentage is when it, how close it is to full blood purebred status. You know what I mean? So F1, F2, whatever it is. But when you get to a certain level of graded, the hybrid figure of that animal, you get to a point where it's ideal for meat production, especially when it's graded boars. Well, the boar is supposed to be a meat animal, so no, Darren. Joe would never be curried, and nobody like we don't own him anymore. But unless something went wrong with him, a man say, "Man, for really put him down." Nobody in their right mind would look at Joe and think Joe is a curry goat. You know what I mean? Joe is a beast. He's the perfect cross. I don't even know how to explain it to people. They have to see him to understand. I strongly feel that we shouldn't have sold him. But when you're young in our business and consult with some people and they might say, yo man, him do him time. He's done his work, it's time for him to move on, then you listen to them. But now I know better. Now I know that I could have actually structured things for him to have more years on the farm. How can I make more, Joe? I will definitely have to find, I have to end up with a nice buck, Nubian buck, and find a full blood female and try it and see if it works. See if I can get another Joe. But Joe was special. Um, Marvin says, I was looking at meat production, but when I look at my kids, man, I changed my mind. So, Marvin, are you saying the kids are too small? If you're looking at meat, like don't listen to what people say. Get yourself a good boar buck or a hybrid like Joe that throws the meat to bone ratio. There's no other way. Nubians is not going to give you enough meat unless you get a big Nubian like Teardrop was or whatever that has good, decent meat to bone ratio. But you need meat on the bones. Ask a lot of the young females, Chester, a lot of young females you see on Cabra. Any females where you see on the farm, most of them that has green tags are Joes. Well, I'll try to show you guys some pictures. We'll post them or something. And Anthony right here on the thing can tell you. Marvin, if you have kids that are 40 pounds at 2 months, what are you complaining about? Or are you not complaining? I don't understand. That is amazing weight. That is amazing growth. You definitely have big kids. Robinson Goat Farm. What's good forages for Boer buck kids? Whatever forage you have around you, fed at the right time. That's good forage. Whether it's guinea grass, king grass, Clear whatever, it's when you feed it. How old is the forage? Grass fed at the right time is the best grass. It's just that simple. If like guinea grass, you can get 12, 13% crude protein at 6 weeks, 7 weeks. That's when that grass should be fed. Forage should be fed at the right time or grazed at the right time. See, Marvin, see, I'm talking about it's the same thing I'm talking about here, bro. Your kids are growing at the right pace. They are perfect for meat. When you ever sell them as studs, right? But they're perfect for meat because you get the ability to sell them. They're gonna hit the weight that you require so fast. You can turn around and make your money back. But the way the market is set up, you get compensated for selling these animals for 65, $70,000 at 4 months because people that's where the market set up, so you can't really fight it. Yeah, there's Anthony can, testify to how good Joe was, to what Joe was throwing. No complaints. Yeah, that's all I got tonight. I don't think I even finished my the whole production thing, but I think you guys got the gist of it. Next step is to do the next grouping. It's in a month, so I will definitely announce what the grouping is like and what we should be expecting. I think Appleton, which is the other Boer buck, is gonna get a lot of work in the next grouping. So we'll keep it moving. Mr. Henry, what do you mean by the 11 a.m., 4 p.m.? What are we talking about? Mr. Henry, yeah, can you give us a little bit thing on that, clarity on that post, on this? Yeah, he said 11 a.m., 4 p.m. Half of the farmers don't understand that. Oh, most farmers just feed. Observation of your herd and your animals is key. Oh, they don't understand the age of the forage. Well, that comes down to researching what you feed. You know, we've dug into this quite a few times here on iGoat Chat. It's important to know how old the forage is that you're feeding, the grass that you're cutting, how old it is, what the nutritional value of it is. It's important, very important. Don't just feed. If you're really serious about understanding the daily gains, birth weight, weaning weight, you gotta be equally as serious about what you feed. No joke. No two ways about it. So I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you guys for coming and participating. Give thanks to each and every one. I appreciate everyone. And I have a question or a poll. I think I should put it in Facebook or something. Do you guys think we should change the night we do this? Now that everything is opening up, Jamaica free up, everybody free up. I know Saturday night is an important, social night. So should we change the day to like a midweek where most people be home, or should we keep it on a Saturday? Please let us know. I think I should put a poll or something up on our Facebook or Instagram, get you guys to tell us if we should keep it on a Saturday evening or we should move it to during the week when more people are home. So anyway, say Saturday. Yeah, so I know everything is open up now, so there's more people are gonna be out on a Saturday now. It's so just let us know. We're committed to doing this, as you guys know, forever. So we will definitely see. People are saying the core original people are saying, yeah, let it stay, man, let it stay. So we'll listen. We'll keep going at it. We'll do what we're the best we can to provide the information, share everything we can learn with each other. All right. So give thanks again. See you guys next week. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And thank you for participating. Enough blessings. See you next week. All right.